Welcome everyone. We want to make this session as interactive as possible. More importantly, we want it to be also as impactful as possible. We have on this panel really subject matter experts, people who are in the decision-making position or they are in the enablement position, but at the far front seat. So I would like to thank you all for making the time and being here with us today in Riyadh. Really thank you. Many of them, by the way, flew all the way in to Riyadh just to make it to the panel, and then they might be running very soon to the airport to catch their flight. So I would like to start with Mrs. May on your initiative. So Nusf, from the name, we can understand that you are serving half of the society, right? You're serving women, but I would like to say differently. So therefore, I would like to be very specific with my question. What do you think are the gaps that we have for women in workforce in general, and how we can overcome them, obviously?
Thank you. It's nice to be here. And NUSF, the Arab Institute for Women's Empowerment, focuses on 3 pillars. Equip, this is the training arm. Research is the arm where it identifies the gaps for women and how do we close it. And the third one is connect. How do we connect with the society to bring down social barriers that get in the way of women's advancement? So you asked, what are the gaps? The gaps are, even though women are the most, Saudi women are ranked #1 in education in the MENA region, they're also ranked 10th, yet their economic participation in the kingdom is weak. So we work on in making sure that there's more women participation within the economy so we could raise our country's GDP. And in a nutshell, that's what we do.
So, can we know a little bit more? How do you do that, practically speaking?
So, practically speaking, Equip is the training arm. We have 3 programs in the training arm: Leaders to Be, Managers Leadership Program, and the Global Executive and Board Membership Program. Right now, our largest demographic is the Leaders to Be. These are women who've just graduated from college and have entered the workforce, have been in their companies for 5 years. We train them on essential leadership skills. Let me give you an example. Me as a Saudi woman, and probably most of the Saudi women around, we've been raised in our homes to be shy, reserved, soft-spoken, you don't negotiate. Boys, on the other hand, they go with their father to the shop, they learn negotiation skills, they learn communication, they learn essential skills that make them very good when they enter the workforce. So that's where we feel that women are ahead of us in this area. Even though women are highly educated, the majority of them are technical fields, they need to be more assertive, they need to personally brand themselves, public speaking, negotiation skills. That needs to be strengthened in order for them to move up that corporate ladder. So this is what we do. And of course, we have other programs, how we discuss with the society how the society can support women. We realize that women can never advance if the society, in particular, if they're not supported by the men. Men are the fathers that supported her into college. They're the husbands that are probably going to take her to work, or they're the brothers, they're even the sons. And in our society, in my family, the grandmother, the auntie, they all have roles in supporting women. So it's essential that we talk to the society to bring down these social barriers that are getting in the way of women's advancements. Now, the farther you are from the cities, the more conservatives the towns are going to be. And this is global, not just in Saudi Arabia. So we focus on that through different programs, which I could talk to you about.
I would love us that we would agree that the gap has been, let's say, narrowed a little bit from where it was, let's say 5-7 years ago, right?
Yes.
And I would like to even share, if I may, I would like to share a very quick experience that we had as well through one of our companies, where we delivered a program. Basically, I'm going to use a very simple term. So it was a barista training for the local women in Aseel, in Abha. And it was a barista training program, practical barista training program leading to employment. So can you imagine, or have you ever seen in Aseel Saudi women from Aseel working behind a coffee bar, making your coffee and serving you and utilizing trick. From what we know, we were the first to do that. It wasn't an easy, a very smooth experience, but we did it.
Of course.
And then year on year, we kept on repeating the same type of initiative, obviously with a little bit of enhancements. And this happens until today, until this year. So as much as you have clearly stated out the gaps, definitely there are some improvements, and I'm sure with your support and with everyone's contribution, with the leadership of the country as well, I think we're heading towards bridging those gaps.
We really are. I have to check the papers every day to see what's new happening in my own country. You can't imagine the education. Women right now, of course, 70% of the population is under the age of 30. They're all tech savvy. They're all mostly Western graduates. So they are there. They're the ones who are going to inherit this country. I'm talking about the society around them, the parents, the grandparents, who have a role in supporting women. That's
100%.
also necessary.
100%, 100%. I would like to move to a fairly different direction, but it's extremely crucial to the industry, to Dr. Naif. Dr. Naif, the ministry, the tourism sector in Saudi Arabia is developing on a massive scale. And when I say a massive scale, I'm talking from a qualitative perspective, right? Like how hospitality quality in Saudi, let's say, how it was and where it is now and where we want to be, but also from a quantitative perspective. And now, since we're talking about a country level or a national level, what do you think there could be some solutions to create some sort of development, but on a national scale, on mass scale? Because that's also important when you think about it as a country, not necessarily as a company, but as a country. And maybe you can share some of your experiences.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm happy actually to be joining this panel. So this is a pretty good question that rather opens some serious challenges to the sector, and which is, and it kind of puts it on the forefront for the ministry and all the educational institutions that are involved in this process. Now, when it comes to tourism training, as many of you know, that this sector is pretty new to the country. Although we could certainly argue that the idea of tourism and hospitality is embedded within the DNA of the Saudi citizen. So then comes the question of how we can capitalize on that and work on some mass planning projects that could actually enable those individuals, our youth, to be participating in this upcoming promising sector that promises opening new homes and offering jobs for so many people. So I believe the answer to this question is kind of complex but simple at the same time. We need first to look at all the stakeholders who are involved in this venture, and we could see that it is necessary that everybody who's concerned about this should be contributing in the process of developing and deciding on the type of skills, needs that are required in this sector in terms of talents and employees. Then we could certainly work on mass skills to offer nationwide programs that are tailored and specific to certain skills that could be utilized in different sectors. I've always had this discussion with so many of our business partners in the sector, and I could always see that there is this need that that they are seeking specific knowledge and skills. But then as a training provider and educator at the same time, the message is being kept repeated to me all the time. So I can see that it is actually something common across many institutions, but apparently that there might be some sort of a gap in regard to consolidating all of these needs. Here comes the role of institutions such as ours and the Ministry of Tourism to work with the private sector on understanding those needs, consolidating them, and making nationwide plans on the type of programs that could certainly alleviate the level of skills and knowledge and abilities within the Saudi youth, so that they can certainly be a positive contributor to the sector of to the tourism. So I hope this actually answers your question.
It answers, but actually in a very sophisticated way, Dr. Naif. Honestly, as usual, you impress us with your answers and your inputs.
Appreciate it.
I was expecting something way more, let's say, light. But if this proves to me that you have serious experience, you have real experience in terms of mass human capital development. Because I would like to suggest perhaps that it's equally important to launch development initiatives and programs that are on a national scale, even if they are not tackling various levels, even if they were not of a certain standard or quality, because quality is important, but also quantity is important, because we're developing like never before, and we're talking about an industry that was
of course
almost not there before, right?
Of course. I mean, given that I'm actually from Mecca and I work pretty much there, and Mecca pretty much represents 58% of the entire hotel industry in the kingdom. There is an immense need for talents and people who are willing to work and participate in this industry. Now, I got the opportunity, and I was fortunate to participate and work with the workforce planning department in the Ministry of Tourism, in which we developed and executed large-scale training programs, where we provided training for over 50,000 individuals, Saudi nationals, in different regions and cities across the country. The impact of this program was quite immense in so many respects, including raising the awareness about the unlimited opportunities that are being offered through this sector, and at the same time it opens new horizons for people who are interested in joining this sector and working throughout the corporate ladder to fill leadership positions. And we are certainly continually working with the ministry in offering such wide-scale programs, and there are upcoming projects that we will hear about them soon.
Wow, great. So mass human capital development by Dr. Naif and Ministry of Tourism and the team. New projects to be announced soon. We are very thrilled to be knowing this on this panel, and also to be able, hopefully, to support and everyone to contribute to this mass development, because I believe it's not the responsibility of one entity or one team, but rather everyone has to contribute, right? When you say 50,000, it's easy for you to say that, but I can only imagine the type of work that had to go behind that work, to make it actually happen.
Of course, I promise you there was a lot of work underlying this whole process.
Yes, I'm sure.
As I mentioned from the beginning, it requires the engagement and the involvement of all stakeholders involved in this sector.
I would like to thank you, just provide you a special thank you for your impact towards the sector, and we look forward more of your impact, hopefully. Dr. James, you are one of the very few deans that I know, and I know quite a few, that is extremely engaged with their students. I like to believe, you never told me this, no one told me this, but I like to believe that you know most of them by name, just by seeing how you interact with them, which is very impressive. My question to you, I would like to know, as the Dean of Lincoln College here in Riyadh, graduating a lot of students with an employment rate quite high, can you share with us one unique successful story?
Yes, I can. We have just the employment rate is 97%. So as they step out of the door, they step into a job, because we know that there's 300,000 keys being developed over the next couple of years, and there's a huge shortfall in the talent pool. To hit Saudiization targets, we need more students. Yeah. But just going to one particular example, so unfortunately, investment in chefing is quite low in Saudi. There's not many schools. Totally, there's 120 chefs that qualify a year. We need, in terms of 300,000 room keys, a lot more chefs. So because we haven't had the investment in a kitchen, which is very different to a teaching kitchen investment is very different to a projector and desks.
Correct.
So that is a kind of hurdle. So we started a chef's club, and we got young Saudi men that were interested in cooking, and we kind of made a kind of fake kitchen space with some basic stuff, little cookers like you might get in your home, the one square, and we taught them, gave them a chopping board and a knife and a desk and a cooker, and we taught them how to cook. And one of our chefs entered this competition, and he went to Malaysia for the World Chefs competition in the student section, and he won the gold medal.
Wow.
So this young Saudi man who has a passion for food proved that there is a case for young men and also for women as well. You know, Princess Noura has a chef's course. To go ahead and show what they can do to the world.
Princess Noura University, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an amazing story for us.
Amazing. And what is he doing at the moment?
Well, he's just about to graduate. He will finish his course now, and he said that he wants to go and work in a kitchen, and he wants to get more experience and become a proper chef and open his own restaurant in a Saudi-style fusion, modernistic way. So hopefully one day we can see him export his restaurant concept somewhere else in the world, which is going to show real Saudi authenticity and attract people to Saudi, is the hope.
This is a little bit unusual, but I'm going to use my authority one more time, just like the previous panel, but in a different context. So I'm the chairman of Takween, which is a food venture lab here in Riyadh at Misk City, Mohammed bin Salman non-profit city. And I would like to actually already extend an offer to this gentleman to have him join us at the Food Venture Lab.
I think he'd love it.
Great.
Thank you.
Very good. I hope my partner doesn't mind. Great. So, wonderful story. That's actually quite fulfilling. Moving on, and there is a sequence in everything that I'm saying, but I will show it to you later on. Moving on to Joseph. Joseph, you represent the industry today, and you represent what every one of us is doing, beside NEOM, but every one of us is doing to serve you in a way, right? Or to serve your requirements or human capital requirements. What are they? What are you looking for?
Okay, I want to refer back to Dr. Naif's comment. The hospitality is in the DNA of Saudis. How do we get that DNA showcased for the visitors who come to the kingdom? For the guests who stay in our hotels. You do it naturally when you have your neighbor, you do it naturally when you have your guests coming to your house, but how do we portray this in our hotels? And that's something that we try to work on, and in the hospitality, there is the opportunity is there, but we just need to present it to the youth, and this need to work at different levels. And I always, one of the best approach I strongly recommend is to start from the high school days. You know, we've seen a change in the education system, if I look at Europe, where the summer break is not anymore 3 months. It's cut down into every 2 months you go for a break, and then, so the summer break is cut into less, probably a month. How can we capitalize and use this break as an opportunity to get the youth to do work placement in the hotels, starting probably 1 week, 2 weeks, and gradually it increased with the years of education. This is a very good opportunity to get them to have an understanding what's there in the hospitality industry. And we have a lot of examples among the different chains where an employee starts as a steward and end up being a CEO for a company, and we've seen it in our organization and with our companies. So that's something that we emphasize on. We need to little bit take a step back, maybe bringing back the seniors into the industry. They are the best ambassadors to talk about the history of the country, how it evolved. So if you imagine you have in your lobby ambassador someone who's been there, who knows how the transformation and how the hospitality work, tap on it. Also from a perspective of we're seeing a lot of change in careers. people after 2-3 years want to change, want to do something different. We want to give that opportunity to them. We have the women who want to work for 4 hours because still want to go back home and cook a meal for her children and want to have that family connection. We need to have that flexibility available. The old traditional way, we need 8 hours or 9 hours of work. We need to really put it behind us and see a freelance job. You have a big event in summer, you're catering for huge events, World Cup, Formula One, and you want team members, why not sign contracts for temporary, for that period and give the people the opportunity to excel? We need to a little bit take that step back and see how we're going to approach. Otherwise, there is a shortage. I know from the vision of 2030, hospitality and tourism is going to be the new oil industry. And we're looking at 500,000 at least people to join the industry. So unless we do things differently, we're not going to be able to match and meet this fast expansion plan. Something to keep in mind. And again, something we did in Rotana, take a step back on the traditional career development path. If you're expecting the youth and the new generation to work for 3 years to move to the next level, you're behind schedule already. So for example, our management trainee program, which was 18 to 24 months, we took a step and we said, okay, a decision made, we need this program to be more 12 months, very concise. And the generation want to learn fast and they are anxious and they are eager to do that. So we've cut it to 12 months and we guarantee after 12 months that they are going to get into a line managerial position. And that's something that we want to emphasize on because that's the best way to set them for success. The education is important, but the work-life experience is where you learn from dealing with guests, handling guest complaints, connecting with clients, negotiating contracts. That's something that we want to, you can only learn it when you're out there working.
Amazing. So you did not answer my question, but you gave me even a better answer. So thank you for that. But I still have to come back to you and ask you, what are you looking for today? How many hotels do you have in Saudi Arabia operating at the moment?
We're looking at, currently we have around probably 15 hotels and we just signed
15.
today. Yes.
So let's talk about the 15.
Yes.
What are you looking for today, as far as Saudi calibers are concerned?
We're looking, and the message for the team is we're looking for attitude.
Okay.
And I know the traditional, we want the education. We're telling the team, even if someone who did not make it at school, but they have the right attitude, they have the smile, they have the friendliness, this is what we want to go behind. We don't want to only target Riyadh and Jeddah in terms of attracting talent. We want to go to the different regions, the far regions in Saudi, and do career fair days and showcase what our industry can offer and attract that talent. And it's something that we're proving, a partnership in terms of internship. So we go out partnering with the Swiss hospitality, with other institutes, and it's a target for our hotels to accommodate interns. And I can tell you 50 to 60% of our interns turn into full-time employment. So that's something we encourage and we push our hotel to do. And I can tell you, if I look at our Saudization, we don't take the target set by the government as our benchmark. No, we push our hotels and we're looking at 44% in terms of our Saudization target. So we want to be ahead of the game because the objective is to go beyond the 50 and 60%.
Thank you so much. You know, I was about to tell you, be honest about the answer. I forgot to tell you that, but I didn't have to tell you. I can tell that you were very honest. Thank you for mentioning those gaps because this is the type of gaps that we need to hear, we need to understand as enablers, as educators, as trainers, as vocational, training facility owners, etc., to really bridge the gap. You know, we don't want to, if let's say the education system has, the theoretical practical type of gap, education versus work-life, it's imbalanced or it's unconnected. We don't repeat the same mistake, right? So thank you for representing that. I want to move on to Aseel. Aseel, you and your project, you represent the future demand. Mm-hmm. So Joseph was telling us about today, right? But you are telling us about tomorrow and the bright future, especially NEOM. We all know NEOM and the amazing plans that you have in there. At least the announced one, it's already fantastic. So obviously NEOM may not necessarily be the recruiter for all of those talents, but they may be the enabler for the assets within NEOM will be the recruiters. But as someone who's taking lead on many of the initiatives within NEOM, what do you think is needed for the long term? What are you looking for as NEOM?
Okay. So you mean in the hospitality, right, industry? We're talking
As
about-
hospitality talents.
Yes, as a hospitality talent. So I think the first thing we need to train them, you know, in, let's say, not to train them to work in a hotel 10 years ago. So the kind of technology and, let's say, metaverse that we are going to have in our programs, that we are working on it. It's not announced yet. So as an example of that, we have the vocational program. We are creating our own program, and it's going to be all online. We're going to use the technology. So even like we're teaching them the English language, and after that they will study hospitality, we'll use the metaverse. So because we are preparing them to work in the hotels that we are going to have in the line, for example. Our hotels in the line will be futuristic, you know, the kind of technology, the robotics that we are going to have. So we want to prepare them to work in hotels that will be open, let's say, by 2030, and the line is an example of that.
Amazing. So actually, I have a question about technology. It's very interesting that you mentioned that. But for you, it's not tomorrow. It's actually today. So you need them to be trained today,
Yes.
using technology and about technology in order to work within hospitality in NEOM.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
So yeah, and I also, we have current programs such as the International Hospitality Scholarship, and we have it with the University of Prince Megrin, and we already have 2 batches there. And part of the program, they have to do their internship. So instead of letting them doing the internship here, we are sending them abroad because we want them to interact with international guests. You know, also we want to building their soft skills. You know, being independent, because still we are still, I would say, a beginner in the hospitality industry when it comes to, let's say, talent. So we already started, you know, internship training students there, and we have 1 student here with us, Lina, and also another initiative that we are doing. We have a partnership with the food company called Cares, which is founded by, let's say, a Michelin Green 3-star chef. And the goal of this company is to promote let's say, the essential and a sustainable approach to cuisine. And he came actually to visit at NEOM, and we asked our students who are studying culinary art in Zadak to come and participated in, you know, in the video shooting, helping the chef preparing the food. So it's all about the sustainable cooking, the new trend in the food industry. So these kind of initiatives and opportunities, we are giving our students let's say, the chance, you know, to participate and to develop their skills, and more projects, of course, to come for them to participate.
Amazing, amazing. So if all of you are following, you'll understand that I started with, you know, women empowerment because they are very important, and then we moved to mass upskilling and human capital development on national scale, because at the end of the day, we're all representing Saudi Arabia at the end of the day, and we want to see how we can do that. So that was sort of the qualitative aspect. Then we had the quantitative, and then here the qualitative aspect from Dr. James, on how he gave us a brilliant example. I'm sure he has way more other brilliant examples, but that was already fascinating, and he got an offer on stage. That's quite interesting, and he doesn't even know. And then we heard from Joseph the current workforce need and into details, and actually he was very generous with his answer. He told us so much more in addition to that. And then Aseel told us what they're looking for in the future. And I think what Aseel is saying, obviously she is representing NEOM, but I would like to say that she's representing the future of hospitality, because NEOM is definitely leading the industry. What is planning to happen in NEOM will definitely you know, disturb what is happening already globally, and basically global trends will then follow. Last but not least, I have Dr. Deeb that I would like to address a very crucial question to, based on everything that we have just heard, which is loyalty. We can train, we can invest, we can hire, we can have them on management programs, we can send them to competitions all over the world, we can teach them about metaverse, we can give equal opportunity to men and women, or we can provide government you know, subsidies through Dr. Naif and the government. But then, how can we maintain them, and how can we really you know, increase loyalty And when I say loyalty, the actual definition of loyalty rather than just having them stick for a very specific short-term reason.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very interesting and important question. And yes, I love this subject because we are in the hospitality and tourism. We are dealing with human, and we want the one we deal with, someone loving, someone caring, someone is passionate about his job, someone likes to go to his hotel. So how can we get to that level? I think loyalty now, to my understanding, the ultimate goal for any organization to go to is belonging. So how can we get to belonging to that level where I feel that I belong to this organization or to this company? When I feel this, everything else doesn't matter. But it's not easy to get your employee to feel that he belongs to this organization. Why? Because generations are different. We are today, the new generation are, yes, money is good for them, but they wanted to be involved, they wanted to be engaged, they wanted to be invested in terms of training and development. They wanted to have more to say. So decision-making, involvement, they wanted to be involved in everything that is, let's say, for example, the strategy of the organization. They wanted to know, because the new generation, honesty and openness is really a key to them. To get your employee, because one of the issue now, I think we all agree, is the turnover, or people going to the hotel industry or tourism, or stay 1 year, 6 months and then leave. But how can we sustain them is, as I said, we have to first of all work on our environment. Second, which is really important for as Saudis, because this is kind of a new industry to us, is the career path. You have to make it clear to them where they will go, their progress, so they would know that, yes, I will stay here in the, let's say, front office for 6 months, 1 year, but if I work hard, if I understand the system, if I develop myself, if I will, let's say, go to the next level. Third, I think is really important for all of us is to showcase and to bring the success stories for Saudis who already made it. Because I have dealt with so many students, so many employees who always say, I can't go to that level. I can't be a general manager. It's really tough. Because we know hospitality businesses is not an easy environment. It's really tough. It's really competitive. But it's really important to show them. Also to include them in the new technologies, because nowadays robotic and is going to be and technology will be a big player in the future. So they need to feel that they are up to the level, up 100%. To the challenge. So it's really important for employee to continue to feel confident that he is someone knowledgeable, and because there are two knowledge. The problem, what I see from my experience, and I'm sure you all agree, there is explicit knowledge and implicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge, unfortunately, we all emphasize on, where we teach them textbook, everything is. But implicit knowledge, which will, I'm sure, will get them to this loyalty or belonging, is implicit knowledge, where we invest on the know-how, in the experience, in the how to do things, providing them mentors, and so on. So loyalty, it's a process. It's something that you have to invest, you have to give to get back. It's like
100%.
customer loyalty, how to get your customer loyal to your brand. It's not an easy. There is a behavioral loyalty, but it's not the one we want. Doesn't just want them to come back to us, but we want them to be, effective commitment and then belonging. Thank you. Sorry for.
Thank you so much. And this is also a proof that you have so much to say on this topic. So I think I asked the right question to the right person. So this takes me to the next point, which you actually facilitated in which is technology, right? And this question in particular will not be for a specific guest. If you have something to share or to add value with, please do. So the question goes like, when I say technology, I'm not
come to the forefront and add such a unique element to the sort of experience that could be offered through the tourism here in Saudi Arabia. So instead of trying to mimicking other experiences in different locations, how can we capitalize on how people interact with their guests here in Saudi Arabia and see how we can have that manifested in the experiences that we are creating to the tourists who are visiting us in here. So this is something that is quite challenging because we're trying to reach some sort of a subtle balance between having professionalism and high standards of services in the industry, but at the same time that unique element that kind of makes the experience in here quite different from any other places. So yeah, this is pretty much what I've been thinking about, and I think it requires some thorough and careful design on the approach on which we are trying to train individuals, because we want to make sure that we are not putting a veil over their innate hospital self, but rather some sort of something that empowers it and brings it to the forefront.
Thank you so much. This is quite thoughtful and a great advantage to all of us to also be thinking about the future and how we want to do things. Even if we're successful today, it doesn't necessarily mean that our methodologies and our approaches will be successful tomorrow. So thank you, Dr. Naif, for that addition. Going back to you, Joseph. As a hospitality company, what do you think are the key points of attraction for Saudi talents today?
If you ask me, and I think I've covered this in your first question, the main attraction, and that's what we need to focus on as a joint effort, is the career growth that is within the industry. As I said, you start as a steward, and the sky is the limit where you want to go, as long as the mindset and the culture of the organization is ready to give you the opportunity. And you ask the question, how ready are we? And I always, when I discuss this with the senior management, with our GMs, with our department heads, none of us was ready for his or her current role. None of us. We were given the opportunity, and only then we started learning and getting ready for that role. There's always this we are skeptical, we don't want to take risk, the person is not ready, and I receive again feedback and comment from them. Let's create a position because the person is not ready, and I'm against. I say, give the people the opportunity. Even if they are not ready, that's the only way you will test and see that they are ready, and that's how they will learn. They will learn from making mistakes, they will learn from dealing with clients. This is their opportunity. So for me, the main attraction for it is, first, we're repeating it, I think, the DNA is there, just we want to convince them that there is an opportunity out there. And it's not limited to those who have done university or have a degree. The opportunity is there for everyone, again, but the development path will vary from someone to the other. It's all about personal development plan that you will put for your team. So the opportunity is there. Also, I think the key attraction for it is how much you are able to gain from other, I would say, countries. We take people from within Saudi to the UAE, we send them to Lebanon, because we want them to see different parts and then bring that knowledge to the kingdom here, and the other way around. We want people to come and see the hospitality and the cultural heritage that is in Saudi, so that we can take it and transform it, because we welcome guests from all nationalities. So this is key. I think the main focus for me, and that's what I always tell the team, we have an opportunity. And going back to also your question on loyalty, Given someone, and I define it in a way, we're touching people's life from an HR perspective. From the moment you tell someone you have a job versus someone you decline, or you've ruined someone's dream to build a career. From touching their life at that perspective, even if they leave you after 2 years or 3 years, Salman, they are still loyal to you because you know what? You were the school that you taught them. And they will talk positively about the organization because they see you live the values and the culture of the company. So loyalty for me, yes, we look at it and we measure it by the retention and how long they've stayed. But again, it can flow after they leave your organization if they still talk positively about you. And now I see it. A lot of people leave our company and then they want to come back. So, and this is, I see it as a positive point. You go, learn something new, and come back to us. You're the best ambassador. And I look around and walk into hotels and someone say hello, and I totally forgot because I've seen them 5, 6 years ago, but they are bright for us. So this is what we need to build on. We have the mass requirement that is required, the opportunities we have. The only, I say, drawback that I see, and I need to be politically here careful, the main competitor for us as a hospitality industry is the government sector. We lose a lot of people from our industry to the government sector. And I'll tell you that we might not be able to meet what the government pay, but when it comes to the benefits, the public holidays, we had this discussion in the UAE, and now they are aligned. If you're in a private or in a public sector, you get the same benefits. Why do I want to go and work in the private sector when my brother on Eid would get 5 days while I am in the private sector get 3 days? Those things we need to work jointly with the authorities to align them, because we should be complementing each other and supporting each other in the vision of 2030 and what's ahead of us. It's exciting time, but it is, everybody would need to be pushing in the same direction.
Beautiful points, actually. Very, very impressive. Allow me to ask you another question, Joseph, but here from a regulatory point of view, or as a regulator, let's say. If I was the regulator and I told you your Saudization rate today, I'm just assuming it's at 40%. I need you to make it 80 in 6 to 12 months. What do you need from me as the regulator, as the government, to make it happen for you as a hospitality company?
You're putting me under the spotlight in a very challenging question, but I'll take that on board. I think everything is doable, and if there's a will, there's a way. But as I've mentioned, we need to support and complement each other. As I said, in the Ministry of Education, I would like every year students who, regardless of whether it's in the airline, whether it's in the hospitality, whether it's in travel agency, to get students from the early days to come and join us during summer and do 6, 7, 8 weeks, even the whole summer, to work with us and see. It's paid internship, no problem. This is your
summer jobs.
Summer jobs.
Perfect, number one.
We need to work outside, as I said, the normal sources of recruitment in Riyadh, in Jeddah. That's not going to take us to the next level. We need to go beyond to the far end of the kingdom, portray, showcase what's there in the hospitality industry, probably change some of the mindset that there's fun. This is more about the culture and the heritage. It's not about it's a hotel. We need to do that. Of course, I think if you talk to me, having this mentorship and looking at the new generation, management trainees within the industry, but not wait for 2 years or 3 years to promote them. That's not going to work. It's not. People can learn now. As we said, ChatGPT, you ask a question and you get a lot of knowledge. You go on YouTube, you can see a video on how to handle a negotiation of a contract. So things like this, we need to build on it. But the key is, as we said, I'll tell you, when the military service, for example, was introduced in the UAE, that was one of the best things that was done, because it trained people on discipline, time attendance. Everybody was treated equally. So you come in, and that's something we need to encourage. And I think it's doable. It's not something that you're saying. The potential is out there. We just need to do it gradually, but we need to showcase it and talk more about it, and not only at our level. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Information, we need to be there and showcase what's there, what's in the pipeline, and show real-life examples of Saudis who started in frontline position and where they are today. And there are a lot of successful stories out there. I mentioned, the doctor mentioned here, so there are opportunities out there and we need to build on it.
Thank you. I thought you will ask for much more, but you are actually very kind. You did not ask for a lot. Typically, if this was a real conversation between you and the Saudi government, I think they would be willing not only to consider your suggestion, but much more. I think the Saudi government has proved, and especially Ministry of Tourism in specific, has proved its willingness, its seriousness towards developing Saudi talents, enabling hospitality companies, supporting the development of enablers and education providers from all over the kingdom. So for that, I thank you. I would like to thank all my panelists and all my guests for their time today, and I want to give a special thanks to any one of you who flew all the way to make it here today. Thank you so much. I'll make sure that this is worthwhile. I'll make sure that many of these remarks are actually communicated to the government, to the stakeholders, so they are aware. They can hear your voice, and the audience today, they hear our voice, and hopefully together we can make a better industry in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.